Hello and welcome to TV Retrospective, in which we retrospectively look back at TV. I'm Cara,
I'm Damon.
and today we are looking at The Simpsons Season 2.
Woo!
I don't know why you did a news... I did a news broadcaster voice, but here we are. The Simpsons Season 2! Yeah.
Hooray!
We're finally at the stuff we actually like.
Yeah! We got that weird season one-ness out of the way.
Mostly.
Mostly.
I think there's like one or two episodes in here that had a bit of season one-ness, but like in the sense of like the good season one-ness that was like the episode where Buck goes to France, which is like a bit weird, but it feels a bit more Simpsons-y than season one mostly did. Okay, this is a fucking start. The Simpsons Season 2 Episode 1, Bart Gets an F.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot. This is a big one.
This is a big episode. It's one of my favorite episodes that they've done, like, ever, really, but it is also, like, quite a lot of an episode, especially in the back end of it.
Oh, I think I agree. It is one of the better episodes. I will say this one has a little bit of season one-ness, but only in the sense of you can tell by the school who changes color.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's, like, little stuff like that, but it's mostly pretty... It's, like, aside from that, it's pretty season 2. I mean, it's just a really good episode.
It just is.
Again, like, putting it on, it's like, oh, no, yeah, this is the series of The Simpsons I grew up on, probably one of the most. I watched this episode a lot as a kid.
Yeah, I should have looked through the notes earlier, but I have quite a few notes on this episode in particular. Mainly just, like, praising it, of being like, oh, wow, yeah, like, even if they didn't intend it, this is a very good representation of how it is to be neurodiverse in a, like, formal education type of setting. Like,
Yeah.
Which is, like, it's definitely not at all what they intended, even though, like...
Yeah, it's the thing of, like, they didn't intend it, but it's one of those things, I guess it's the thing of maybe over the years as time's gone on, they're very much like, yeah, Bart's got an ADHD or an ADD, or I think that's, like, the vague quote I remember them saying about...
Yeah, he does get a diagnosis in a much, much later episode. But we're not going to touch on that episode because that's way further into the future.
Does he actually get a diagnosis?
From what I remember, yeah.
Okay.
It's not a good episode, but, like...
That's fair. That's very expected. No, that's fair enough. Yeah,
but I remember, like, since, this is the first episode of the season, it's like you're jumping straight from season 1 and, like, all of its weird visual quirks, and you're going right over to this episode, which is, like, you can immediately tell it's really tightened up the way it's done its animation. It's still, like, going to be another season until they really get the hang of it.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, this one's already really good. And it was also, like, listening to the audio commentary of this one, it was also just really nice hearing them talk about the actual animation techniques they were using.
Yeah.
Because, they're still using cell animation during this and all.
Although, for this one, they talked for, like, a good, 7 minutes about how they were put up against The Cosby Show.
Oh, yeah.
which is like, that's an element of its time. And then just, like, listening to it, like, oh, fuck, they've been going on a while about it.
Yeah.
And then they bring it up a few times, but the voice actor for Martin Prince also being the same voice actor for Minnie Mouse.
I must have missed that.
They bring it up in, 4 different episodes.
I'm like, look, I mean, the thing is with the commentary, and I guess in this season, I don't know if they do this in other seasons, but especially in this one, they repeat stories a lot, so at some point I kind of just started shooting them out, like, oh yeah, they're talking about this again.
Yeah, but also, again, it's a thing of, like, these, like, they're repeating stuff from, like, they're trying to remember stuff from, 13 years ago for them at the time, and then, like... they have different people on different episodes, but it does seem to be the same person every time. Or, like, at least... Again, it's harder to distinctify the voices yet, because I haven't quite... Every time I get surprised at what Matt Groening's voice sounds like, I'm like, oh, right. but it's just because I'm not used to hearing that as a particular person, so I can't like quite distinguish them yet.
I haven't experienced that. I'm very much used to hearing what Matt Groening sounds like.
I don't listen to him talk on a day. He's not friends with me like you, Damo.
Yes.
Not best pals with Matt Groening. Bloody hell. Get written into the new season of Futurama.
Oh my.
This is also, they brought up like the fact that it was like, this is like the first VCR show.
Yeah, they did bring that up a few times.
They mainly brought it up here in reference to the intro because of like it's sort of like stop to like pay attention to like some of the jokes that are like blink and you miss it, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's really fun, and like, you know, obviously this inspired a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, and like that's one of my favorite parts about this whole show is just the amount of like little hidden jokes just scattered all around, which like they also mentioned in the commentary. They're like the background jokes and like the sign jokes and stuff like that just take them forever to actually write.
Oh yeah, no, it's very funny.
It's really funny.
How like most of the episode will be done, they'll be sitting there for like 4 hours being like, we need a joke about a food restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember like that was like pretty influential for me growing up because like there was just so much detail in all these backgrounds and a bunch of just like the most random like sign jokes and like jokes about the names of stores. Like I always loved that.
Oh, it's great. It's really good.
It's so good. It was also like I have a note about like the arcade scenery that they have in this episode in particular. That stood out to me quite a lot. Just like in the moment made me think like, man, I want to go to an arcade, like an old school 80s 90s arcade so bad.
Fair enough. Yeah, apart from like we've kind of covered all my notes except for like we'll talk about the ending in a bit, but I just have 2 quotes I've written down, which is like Bart just being like, "Think, Bart, think. Crisis brings out the best in you," which fuck.
Yeah,
that's a lot. And then the Lisa quote of prayer, the last refuge of a scoundrel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's good. It's nice to have good Simpsons.
Lisa's got some good quotes in this season.
Oh, definitely. I mean, she's great.
She's so good. I love her so much.
But yeah, that's kind of all my notes, except for just talking about the ending.
Yeah.
Which, it's a lot. It's very powerful. I watched this before I did my OP test.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went out of my way and I brought the disc in and was like, I need to watch this one in particular.
Absolutely fair.
Yeah.
It like the ending of this episode actually like kind of reminds me of the Lisa episode in season 1 in a very strong way. I forget the name of the episode, but we did talk about it.
I can find it. It is it's not, is it the one with bleeding gums?
No, I don't think it's not the one with
no,
bleeding gums.
It is Moaning Lisa.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so season 1 episode 6.
Okay, yeah, Moaning Lisa and Bart Gets an F, both very much like stories of like the struggles of just being a kid in school in like 2 very different ways, but both I feel like are like very, very, very relatable in their own ways, of course.
To you, maybe. No.
Well, to me, yes.
It's very funny, but like it's so relatable. Yeah. just like completely been like, well, it is to you. It's a weird joke. It's like late. This is usually our recordings where I'll sleep when I'm done talking. But we don't have that much time this week. So...
Yeah, we are like, we're a little bit scatterbrained because like...
It is Christmas after all. It's just after Christmas. Like, it's been such a hodgepodge and all, such a rush. This episode's coming out December 27th.
Ah, nice.
Play along.
Yep.
Yeah,
after Christmas.
You know, it's a bit of a rush. It's the holidays, you know. We got to get this out before, like, January kills us all. Yeah. But yeah,
Passage of time.
This episode, again, it's very heavy, and I really appreciate an episode, and I think about it a lot when you try your best, and it just isn't enough.
Yep.
And, fuck the school systems to not be good for us, the two of us. You in
just
particular.
us specifically.
Yeah, I mean other people. We're not the only neurodivergent.
No, it's specifically fucked over us and only us.
You know what? That's fair. Well, again, there's no one else in the room to disagree.
Exactly.
So, who can say? I have a fair enough. But no, it's really good. It makes it feels really nice to have that. It's a really lovely episode. If you were to watch any episode out of The Simpsons, this would be in your top 10 of recommendations.
Absolutely.
Do you want to move on to episode 2?
Yeah.
Because we have spent 10 minutes on one episode and we have 22 episodes to go. We have 22 episodes.
Shit.
Oh, fuck. Okay, episode 2. Okay. Simpsons and Delilah?
Simpson and Delilah.
Simpson and Delilah.
Yes, this is the Homer Gets Hair episode.
Homer Gets Hair episode. A very season 2 episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is very much feels like the energy of very early Simpsons. We're doing a thing. What does Homer not have? He doesn't have hair. Let's do an episode on the fact that he is bald and now he has hair. Which I think I noted as the first actual strangling of Bart in the series.
Is it? Might be, yeah.
Well, I have it written down as is this the first strangling in the series? ? Given the fact that I don't remember that from season 1. And I'm not going to bother looking at the notes.
No,
so it might be the first time.
I think it is. There's a few close calls in season 1, but yeah, I don't remember anything him doing that in season 1.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What are your notes, if you have anything?
I have 2. One is basically what it says is, I love Carl. I may have a crush on him. I love his husky voice. Love everything about him.
My note for Carl is, this fucking Carl guy is amazing. Who are you?
Yeah, which by the way, we're talking about new character Carl, not Homer's co-worker.
Yeah, not Homer's co-worker Carl, who still sounds like Lenny. We are talking about, there's a new character introduced. His name is Carl. The basic scenario is Homer gets hair, he gets a promotion, he's trying to get a secretary, all these ladies are hitting on him, and him as a good husband's like, hey Marge, is it real weird? I don't know what to do about this.
Yeah.
And Marge is like, well, don't hire them. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then he's like, hello.
And then a man comes in.
I can't do Carl's voice. I cannot do it. He's a guest star though, but I never picked up.
He is, yeah. It's like, hello, Homer. Something like that.
Hello, Homer. Yeah, you actually did not an amazing thing, but I think you did way better than I ever could for that voice.
It's a very specific voice,
and it's very good. And basically, that character really takes Homer through the ropes, kind of helps him build up the corporate ladder, just sitting as the secretary. And then this is there's a great bit where Homer forgets his anniversary. And then there's a knock at the door, and it's like, "Hello, Mrs. Homer Simpson. We there's a whole a."
He's a singer, a hired performer.
Yeah, he comes out. He's got flowers. He sings along, and it's like, "Oh, Homer, that's so lovely. Especially with the new job. I didn't expect you to remember. That's so nice." And Homer gets a call from Carl, being like, "Hey, I hope you didn't mind me sending that to you." I was like, "No, I really appreciate it." And I just like the Mr. Homer Simpson or Mrs. Homer Simpson. I think that's a very funny joke.
It's really good.
For all you TikTok fans out there, if you noted what does my little girl want? That is that audio comes from this episode. So yeah, that's fun. I don't remember what Lisa says back. Because it's like, what does my little girl want? And Lisa says something profound or serious.
Yeah.
It's like, how about a pony? Pony sounds nice.
Yeah. She says something specific. I
didn't write the whole joke down for some reason. I just wrote, the audio. And I'm like, well, thanks, man.
It's like, I'll remember what it is.
This is when the power plant crow, that gets brought up, and I'm like, oh yeah, if you don't know, every time the power plant show, every time it's every establishing shot of the power plant, there's always a crow going off, going, caw! Every time.
Every time.
It's fun.
which like makes you really appreciate just like the sound design in the show in general, because I don't know what their sound design process like is or was, but it's like very unique, and they put a lot of work into what they actually did this.
It's really interesting, and I wish they'd talk about that more.
I know, because like it feels like they mostly Foleyed like almost all of it themselves, pretty much, because they're not like stock sound effects or anything.
No,
not for the most part.
Yeah, there are a few here and there, but it does feel like the way they talk about the sound design really just sound like they just went out and did it.
Yeah. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, okay, so I do want to. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about the best scene, and like maybe one of the best scenes out of season 2, but the best scene in this episode, being like, so Homer ends up losing his hair through Bart fucking around. That's where the first strangle happened. Smith has just been jealous of Homer's success because getting in the way of Mr. Burns or whatever the fuck, tries to get Homer fired. Carl steps in the way and is like, no, I'll be fired instead of him. I was the one using the hair product. And because Homer was charging the hair product to his work because he couldn't afford the $1,000 in 1991. Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Or 1992, whatever it came out. But
I think this is 91.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is 91 because the first season, the first episode was 89, the rest of it was 1990.
Yeah.
Yes, this would be 91. But yeah, no, so like Homer's real nervous, he's real scared, he has to do a speech, he doesn't have his hair anymore. And then he's reading a letter that Carl sent him, and it's really nice, it's real lovely. And then he turns around and sees that Carl's behind him. He's like, "Oh, I thought your sweet tones was just the voice in my head, but no, it's you literally here reading it over my shoulder." Yeah. And you know, Homer's really unconfident. He's like, "Oh, I don't know," and stuff like this. And you know, Carl's really trying to hype him up, and he says the line of like, he's saying some stuff, and my mother never said never said I should ever kiss a fool, and then just full on kisses Homer.
Yep.
And it's a gay kiss, and I was writing these notes being like, is Carl gay? Carl's gay for Homer, I was writing that scene happened, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you just kissed. I love this man.
Yeah. And like of course, like they bring it up in the commentary as well. They were like, "Yep, gay kiss in 1991." It was like, "Yeah, huh."
Apparently, they said that they were using Bugs Bunny kissing Elmer Fudd as to get past the census for having a gay kiss.
Yeah. You gotta appreciate like how much they were like trying to get away with. I can't
get over the fucking kiss in this episode. It's so like, it makes my little gay heart pump, you know.
Especially because like, I don't know, how much did you watch season 2 as a kid?
Oh, it was like my dad was like, "This is your season, you own this one," so a lot.
Yeah, same. And like interesting because like that scene, it never stood out to me as a kid.
I don't remember it at all.
I watched it so many times, and I was like, "Yep, that's an interaction." I just never thought much of it.
But I think it's a thing of I don't think I watched this episode too much because I think it interested me that much as a kid.
Fair.
Like, it's a thing of I remember watching it because I vividly remember Homer running out with his hair waving in the wind and the gorgeous background art that was very season 2. I vividly remember that, but
really can't talk about season 2 without bringing up like just the background art in general, because it is so pretty in this season as well. Like the colors and the detail and everything is just so nice.
Yeah, I just, because it's a thing you gotta remember. Again, going back to the kiss thing, as I always will. We'll be like 20 seasons later being like, yeah, and that kiss in season 2, you know, I'm still thinking about it. I go back and watch that clip. No, it's interesting, like, again, how it is, like, though they very much are trying to break bounds with the show, they were trying to break every convention of, like, your basic television stuff. I find it so fun every time they bring up, and like, well, this is one of the only sitcoms in which they actively go to church.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, hearing stuff like that, like, blew my mind.
And it's like, yeah, because it's
like,
like...
oh my god.
you're right. But then the Christians had so many issues with this.
Yeah.
Also, in episode 1, Bart says cowabunga, and they're sitting there being like, yeah, we don't know if we got that from... Because there's a bunch of t-shirts of, like, Bart Simpson saying cowabunga, and I'm pretty sure we just ripped it from one of those. Because we never made him say cowabunga before this, and I don't think we made him really say it afterwards. We just kind of saw a t-shirt and we're like, I guess it's a thing Bart would say.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
I love it so much.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting to reflect back on the show, being like, this show was very groundbreaking in a way of being like, hey, this is the show, we're doing our own thing, we're pushing boundaries. And then you get like South Park in 10 years, and it's like, well...
Yeah.
We've gone so far in a weird direction that The Simpsons is tame, but The Simpsons are so fucking interesting.
Yeah.
The
Simpsons, like, you know, it's... Even without all of, like, the... what would have been, like, I guess in a way shocking back in, like, 1991... It's still just, it's so funny and it tells its stories really well that it still just stands up on its own. Like,
I mean, the kiss was still shocking,
regardless.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
You don't often get to see gay kisses on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, now this is a note for you, the audience. Mr. Burns is 81 in this episode. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think we should wrap up that episode.
Don't get used to him being 81.
No. But keep it in mind. Just remember that fact. And Marge is, I think, 34?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're in their 30s and...
Yeah, I always remember Homer being 38.
Yeah.
Because I remember when my dad turned 38 and I was like, oh, he's Homer's age. But yeah, since it's been another 10 minutes and another episode. Episode 3, Treehouse of Horror.
Woo! First one!
Now, I do want to run an idea by you that I had. I don't remember if I brought it up to you. But it's a thing of, like, it might hurt because some of the movies will fuck me up. I was thinking about, with every Treehouse of Horror, going and watching the media they're parodying before we talk about the episode. I don't know if you're going to do that. Like, I was intending on doing it just myself. But I've been a bit hesitant on it because I do a parody of The Fly.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of my no-no movies. Because it's David Cronenberg, severe body horror. I could maybe watch the original 1950s one, but I don't think that's what they're intending on parodying. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But I think it could be a fun idea, and I might give it a try. I haven't... And I had that idea after the episode, so I didn't do it for this time. But also, the first 2 segments aren't really based on anything.
Yeah. I think the closest reference in, like, the Kang and Kodos episode is, like, Pong, and that's it.
They're not... Yeah, it's like they're doing their own alien story. They're not doing anything else in particular.
Yeah, I think... Is the only parody the Crow? The Raven?
Yeah, well, it's barely even a parody.
It's not even a parody. It's just word for word, just the Raven.
It's Edgar Allan Poe. Like, it's just what it is. Lisa just reads out a poem, and it's fucking great.
It's
genuinely
Chef's
amazing.
kiss.
I think it's one of my favorite Treehouse of Horror segments.
Same. I have a little Funko cup of the Raven up there.
It's so good. I love Bart the Raven so much. It's such a good thing. But yeah, everything about this episode is iconic, just so iconic for what it is. Dolly shot of the alien ship coming over and the Simpsons reacting to it is so weird looking, but very iconic because obviously they're separating the cells and stuff in a very unique way. I don't know, it was really cool. I really liked it. It was fun.
Really neat.
I accidentally clicked on the three-eyed fish on the DVD menu, and it had a special thanks to David Silverman. Yeah. That's all it had. It was like, special thanks to David Silverman. I was like, cool.
That was on this same disc, disc 1?
Yeah.
I
accidentally did it. Yeah, I didn't. I was like, I realized I was hovering over the fish, and I was like, and I clicked it, and I was like, whoa.
That's really cool.
So I thought I'd bring that up. Anyway, I guess we should, unless you have any other notes, we're going to try and speed this along, because Every season's gonna have like 20 episodes in it, and there are gonna be a few episodes we're gonna talk about a lot, and a few we're gonna have no notes on.
Yeah. No, Treehouse of Horror 1, it's good. Like, very, very good.
Yeah. Episode 4, 2 cars in every garage and a three-eyed fish and 3 eyes on every fish. I have no notes.
Like, my notes, like, one of them is basically, like, I've never really thought about how much I just love the titles of these episodes.
Yeah, the titles are very good.
They're very fun. And, like, I think the other note is, like, really, I wasn't as invested in this episode as I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of like the thing with some of these no notes episodes, is that they're not bad, but it's like they kind of speak for themselves. In a way. It's like, yeah, no, they're just good.
It's the episode about the three-eyed fish. And like pollution and stuff, and it's not the best they've just done better episodes about this topic.
Oh yeah.
So
it's like, it's a political divide episode, but like they don't actually get too deep into the political divide topic, weirdly.
Yeah, it's funky. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, they have to cram so much into these episodes anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good episode.
It's good. Episode 5, Dancing Homer.
Yeah, in which my first note was like, this was season 2?
What did you think it was?
I don't know.
No, because I have no notes except for a note I retroactively put on. Oh wow, yeah, I watched this episode a bit ago, and somehow I forgot this season. I forgot this was a season 2 episode.
Yeah.
It feels very, very like this is a very season 1 energy to me.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, I watched this episode a lot as a kid. This is basically where Homer becomes a mascot for the Springfield baseball team, is it?
Yeah,
It's baseball, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's baseball, yeah. What are they called? The Springfield Isotopes.
Yeah, the Isotopes.
I don't know if they're called the Isotopes in this episode. I don't remember. I know they're Isotopes eventually, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no notes. It's a very classic early Simpsons. It deserves. I feel like it should be like a season. Like this episode feels more like it should be like Bart Gets an F is episode 1, Homer and Delilah's episode 2, episode 3's Dancing Homer. Like it feels very like even though it's episode 5, it still feels too late for it in the episode run, which is weird.
Yeah, I think there's only really 2 real notes I have on this. One is like the bit at the start where they have Bleeding Gums Murphy sing the the national anthem or something, and he goes on for fucking ever.
Yep. Yeah.
I've been in those situations before. They go on for so long.
Yeah.
It was so funny. But like also when watching this episode with the commentary on, this is one of those episodes where they mentioned the amount of detail that was put in the backgrounds of the episode, which is very, very apparent in this one, especially in the the announcer guy's office, where there's just like a bunch of pencils like screwed into his ceiling.
I didn't even. I just don't remember this episode.
But, like,
again, I never watched. I only do the audio commentaries for some episodes. I don't do them for all.
Oh, that's fair. It is a very blink and you miss it joke. It's only in like a quarter of the frame anyway, and you. But like it's just so funny. It's like because it's based off of one of their own co-workers who like screwed pencils into their ceiling for some reason.
No, fair enough. I get that. That's funny.
It's so good. If you have access to that episode, like watch it and look out for those background details, just in season 2 in general, because it's full of them.
Yeah, I'd recommend going get out the DVD, just bust it out, find it in Marketplace or eBay or whatever. Shouldn't be too expensive.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, season 2, episode 6. I know why I said season 2. We know we're in season 2. Episode 6, Dead Pudding Society.
Yeah.
This is like the opposite of like some of the other episodes of No Notes, in which I was hooked immediately.
Oh, yeah?
My first I was like, I was not expecting to get so hooked into this episode so quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is one I was just really invested in pretty immediately. I was like, oh shit, alright, I'm in. But also, it's got a bit of a Bart and Lisa episode to it, so I love those episodes. They might end up being my favorite type of episodes.
They're very nice. I think this is like probably one of the first episodes in which Homer and Flanders is like
active rivalry
actually kicks off.
No, it's very much feels like that.
And like a rare like Flanders actually like snaps back at Homer,
which is good. I really like this episode because
it's a good episode.
It's Homer and Ned trying to fight through their kids, and their kids are like, "We don't want to do this."
Yeah, they're like, "We don't care.
Is this just want to fight?"
Yeah. It's like it's a mini golfing episode, and it's very fun, very very fun episode. I remember like I don't have a lot of notes, but one of them is a good Lisa quote.
Oh, okay. I wonder if it's going to be one of the two I have of Lisa's.
Probably is, but yeah, it's like at the end of the episode in which like the fight just like ends in a draw. Their Homer and Flanders are in their wife's like very like 1920s styled like summer dresses,
which is such a weird joke, but it's like, yeah, we're having fun. All right.
Yeah, I mean, they bring up how weird it is in the commentary as well. It's like, these are such weird period piece dresses for them to be wearing. But yeah, like, it's just the quote just goes like, why do I get the feeling that one day I'll be describing this to a psychiatrist?
Yeah, that is the quote. That's one of the quotes I had.
That's good.
The other quote I have is earlier in which Lisa's talking to Bart being like, having never been given words of encouragement, I don't know what they sound like, but I believe in you.
Yeah.
Which is such a Lisa.
Oh, Lisa. Her quotes are often so sad, but like so still pretty funny at the same time.
Again, she's a fucking great character.
She's so good.
But no, this is a very fun episode. Next, episode 7, Bart versus Thanksgiving. Unless you had any other notes, I'm real bad at just moving on.
Oh no, I didn't have anything else.
Yeah, Bart versus Thanksgiving. Patty's shirt was also blue at a moment. You can tell when you rewind the footage. You can see like at one point both Patty and Summer's shirts are the same color.
Huh. I never noticed that.
I feel bad for Marge.
I feel bad for a lot of the characters in this episode.
Yeah, but Marge in particular.
Marge. Yeah. Because, like, this is the introduction of her mother.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, boy.
You got a glimpse of her mother in season 1, but this is, like, a proper introduction, and fuck.
Yeah. You actually get to see her for real. It's like, oh, wow, you explain a lot in this family.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. I remember, like, this is... Whenever I would watch this episode back as a kid, I would actually skip this episode a lot because I hated the way that Bart acted in like the first 2 acts in particular, because he's at his worst in this. I would argue.
That's interesting because I also skipped this episode a lot, but that's more because of the anxiety of the burning of the thing and Bart like not realizing.
Oh yeah.
Like, that killed me. That was awful. But what I do want to say is I relate strongly to Bart trying to help out in the kitchen.
Oh, same.
Just being like, all right, what do you need me to do? Okay, do this thing. Okay, cool. What's the next step? Do this thing. Oh, okay. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing?
Yeah.
Mom. Oh, okay, this. Okay, cool. I guess I open up the can. It's not working. I don't know how soon. I think it's broken. Okay, let me just... There you go. Okay, cool. All right, thanks. All right, what do I do next? Okay, put it in the thing. Okay. Okay, I did it, and then just leaving, like
just leaving, and then like Marge just going just remember to like put it in the fridge when you're done. Where'd you go?
Yeah, like I'm like, no, that's such a thing. Bart's such bitching in this episode. That's very fun.
Yeah, I had a note about that as well, and I was like, whoa, that's interesting.
But this is I also have a note of I remember the first and second half of this episode being 2 different episodes.
That kind of makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
For me, I remember like the whole, Bart like going to the like the sketchy side of town, like that being a whole different episode.
Yeah, same.
Especially with like traveling with Santa's little helper and like getting his blood taken out.
Yeah, no, I remember all that as a different episode. Which is funky that we both had that experience.
Yeah.
So I guess, hey, you in the audience, I wonder if you have that experience too. Let us know. Let us know if this is like a weird universal thing that everyone's like, whoa.
Yeah. I have one of the other notes I have in here is just like seeing all the family dynamics here with like, the immediate Simpson family, and then like Abe and like Grandpa, Marge's mother, Patty and Selma. It's just a nightmare seeing them all together because they clash so much, but in a way I relate so strongly to.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy. I want to leave the room, and I'm not even in this.
That's probably the reason. Like the whole family stuff in this episode was why I skipped it all the time.
Yeah, but like, I mean, there's a lot of good quotes as well. Like when they have to leave the house, like when the extended family has to leave, Grandpa says something along the lines of like, "If I'm not back at the home by 9, they declare me legally dead and collect my insurance."
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It just kills me.
It's a very good line.
It's so good.
The only note, I only have like one note left, which is just me freaking out about the roof, because I vividly remember the Simpsons roof and how it looks.
Same.
Like, that is such a vivid memory in my head, is Bart standing on that roof with Lisa. And like how the roof looks and how it's just covered in things, which I'm pretty sure they go back to another episode. I swear they do.
I feel like they do.
Like at least maybe another 2 times, because I'm like, no, my memory of it is too specific for it to just be one episode that I skipped half the time.
I remember also being like extremely jealous of like Bart being able to actually access the roof when I was a kid, because I always wanted to be able to just go on top of a roof when I was a kid, just to like watch the sky or just to like explore around. But
I love the idea of little child you just being like, I want to get up there,
because it looks like such a nice escape. It's not very easy to do.
A nice escape. Yeah.
It's not very easy to do in like
my nice escape is a television. I don't blame you.
Totally fair.
Fuck. But yeah, no, I get it. It'd be fun to go on a roof, but terrifying.
Yeah, the only access I have to a roof in this current house is one that's at a very steep angle, in which I would absolutely slip off and break something.
Yeah, I don't think I can actually get onto the roof at my place.
Yeah.
Unless I get a very big ladder.
Yeah. I mean, like, our roofs here are also, like, pretty just steep in general.
Yeah, it's not the US roofs.
Yeah. They're built differently. I don't know exactly how, but there's a definite difference.
There's reasons about it, like how like most US places are designed for some form of snow, where Australia's more designed for heavy rain.
Yeah.
Like it's just like this little simple design stuff like that.
Yeah,
we good to move on to the next episode?
Yeah.
Because we are 40 minutes in. Episode 8, Bart the Daredevil.
Oh yeah, this is an iconic episode.
Yes, it is, but I didn't clock that immediately because it's such a fucked beginning that I didn't remember. And it made me be like, I thought this was just like a later Simpsons thing. Has Simpsons always been fucked with its pacing?
I mean, like, honestly, the way that The Simpsons jumps dramatically in their stories from, like, Act 1 to Act 2 is just so stark.
I don't know how you write that.
I don't know either. I don't know how the fuck they go from, like a band, like a school band thing, to, like, Bart, like, wanting to become a daredevil. It's like, how do you think of, like, all of these interconnected things?
So as an audience member, if you're listening to this episode, you hear that, you're like, oh, okay, that's like an A plot, B plot, or it's like a little opening end of the thing. Let me explain how this works. So, first thing was a fun little joke of, live from Springfield Performing Arts, Worldwide Wrestling! I thought that was very funny. That's a very good joke.
It's really good.
Principal Skimmers, I'll just do all my little notes beforehand. They want to go to a demolition derby type thing, but they have to go, and they bought tickets, but Lisa's school concert is on a very particular time, so which is like just like an hour beforehand.
like a few hours beforehand.
Yeah, a few hours beforehand, but they wrap up at like almost the exact time they need to leave to get to the demolition derby place. Or at least that's the intention of it. Which I think at one point Homer just steals Lisa.
Yeah, he just like takes her off of the stage.
Yeah,
it's so funny the way he like slowly lifts her off, but then like brings her back so that she can bow for the crowd.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's like, that's cute. That's actually really cute.
And I like it. I really like it. There's a little really great Lisa Homer moment in which Lisa's like, "Come on, Dad, I swear you will like it." And she performs 1812 Overture, and then it cuts to like as Homer's in the car racing to get to where to the demolition derby. He's humming it, and Lisa's just sitting there being like, "I reached him."
Yeah, I love
she's
that
so
part in particular.
Happy, and it makes
so
me
cute.
happy.
Same.
So basically, they rock up at the at like the demolition derby thing because there's like a T-Rex. It's like there's like Rechosaurus or whatever the fuck it's called. It's like a giant T-Rex made of scrap metal and cars that breathes fire. Homer fucks up where he's supposed to go and he drives into the thing, and the T-Rex comes down, picks up the family car and starts crushing it. And I'm sitting there being like, what the fuck? What's this episode gonna be? That is destroying the family car.
Yeah.
Like the fucking family car, it's like it's all fine. Like they get the insurance, the car, it's okay, and it's not even a part of the plot after that. What? What?
Yeah, it's never brought up again.
And then yeah, basically, and in that there's a Daredevil guy there. Bart gets influenced. He starts to do Daredevil things. One thing leads to another. Lisa's trying to stop Bart from doing Daredevil things, so they go to the Daredevil in the hospital. So two kids just walked into a hospital going, "Excuse me, we'd like to visit famous guy," and the doctors are like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Which is great, and then they're chatting about it, and Lisa's like, "Hey, could you tell him about how bad it is to be a thing?" He's like, "Yeah, alright." He just tells him about all the injuries and all the broken bones he actually has at that particular time. And Bart's like, "Cool! I'm gonna go and jump Springfield Gorge." And so he goes
like,
to...
while that, like, the Daredevil guy is, by the way, in, like, a full body cast.
Yeah,
Just
he
being like,
was signing a signature
awesome.
with his teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, no, it's great."
Of which his
my bones,
signature
but
is
it's great.
totally illegible, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And he had like the hots for like the nurse or something. It was real weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the episode where Bart goes to try and jump Springfield Gorge. Homer stops him, and it's like, wait, oh my god. Like Homer stops him, but then accidentally ends up jumping Springfield Gorge, which is the very famous scene. Which is such a fucking... You know, I can't... We get to moments, especially in the early stuff, where we will hit a moment that is like, did this change television? This is so burned into, like, I guess The Simpsons as a series as one of the big things that happened. And
like, this is one of the big things as well.
Like, it comes back up in the movie. We'll get to that eventually, but it's a thing of, like...
Eventually,
It is a very big thing. It is a very famous scene, because it's the whole thing. If you haven't seen it, please just go watch it. We're just like, oh my god, I'm gonna make it! As he falls down the cliff, and he hits his head and
not
everything.
not like a rubbery, like Looney Tunes type of animation.
No,
it is like a brutal, like
it's
he's just falling like a rock.
It's, again, in the similar way of like it's pushing boundaries. It's like how fucked up.
There is
can we
blood
make
from
Homer?
what I remember.
There is blood, yeah, and his head looks like a bit indented, and like
a rock just straight up falls on his head.
Yeah, and then eventually the ambulance, they slowly bring him back up with a crane, and they put him in the ambulance, and the ambulance starts to drive away, then it crashes into a tree, and then Homer wheels out of the ambulance and then falls down the gorge again.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
They just pack so much into these. It's like, fucking hell, this is such a good show.
It's so fucking good. So we got to move to the next episode?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are 45 minutes in, and we have covered 8 episodes. we're fucked.
We'll
These are going to
get
be
there.
so long. I mean, it's The
Yeah.
Simpsons. Of course they're going to be. Usually the series we tackle are like 13 episodes, except for like stuff like Adventure Time, which was like shorter episodes. Anyway, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. What did you think of this episode?
I thought it was interesting. Because
I also
mean,
thought it was interesting.
It was a lot more of a social commentary type of thing in that it was also like a social commentary about television in general. And like, this is the episode where they tackle censorship in like, cartoons and TV.
It was a bit, and I was really, because I saw the name of the episode, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't remember what the takeaway was supposed to be from this episode. I just remember, I wonder, like, I was trying to work out what was the lesson, like, what perspective were the creators of this episode going to go with. I was really curious, especially as it went on, because I'm like, okay, they're doing a relatively good job of showing both perspectives.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, that's actually really good. Where are they going to land on this? I'm really interested. And I guess spoilers for the answer, they don't.
Yep.
It's a complicated issue.
Yeah, they basically end with like it's a complicated question and issue to have, like because the question is basically like how far should censorship be taken, and like, should there be censorship in general?
Marge takes censorship with Itchy and Scratchy, which is a Tom and Jerry cartoon if it was done by the guys who did what's a very violent animated show.
Not Ren and Stimpy.
I guess if like you had a bit more of an extremer Ren and Stimpy and or Tom and Jerry, because it's Tom and Jerry, it's clearly based off of that type of violent cartoon.
What's that cartoon that's like, it's a very violent cartoon with like the little woodland critters that just like
Happy Tree Friends?
Happy Tree Friends.
But that was way later. That's what but I guess it's a good example of like, yeah, it's in the vein of like Bart and Lisa watching a Happy Tree Friends and Marge being like, oh my god, we gotta stop this.
Yeah.
This is fucked. But not just because of that, because Maggie, they do a whole Psycho parody. They love parodying Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's and also like Alfred Hitchcock and Citizen Kane are like their two parody points, which is crazy. It's the 90s. What do you mean you're parodying Citizen Kane? That's insane. I probably should watch that movie for the context of, well, The Simpsons do it so much, it might be handy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I was really like, one, you get to see Michelangelo's dick. Michelangelo's David's whatever the fucking the nude statue.
Michelangelo's David. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, Michelangelo's David. You see his dick, and I'm like, that's fun. But yeah, basically the end of the episode, Marge stands up to cancel Itchy and Scratchy, and all the people who helped her are like, hey, they're bringing Michelangelo's David to town. He should wear pants. You can't just show like a statue's like dick to people. It's how you. I'm remembering the joke they do a bit later on from that. But Marge was like, I think it's fine, and they're like, how dare you? And then like I think Maud is like, it's like either Maud or Reverend Lovejoy's wife. What was her name? Helen. Like either one of them is like, see, I told you she'd be okay with full frontal nudity. But the joke later on that I had the reference to was like Homer being like, hey, you know what's fun about this? What? Well, all the kids have to go on an excursion to see this.
Yeah.
But no,
it's really good.
It's really interesting, and I was so curious to see the audio commentary for this, to listen in as to what their thoughts were, and they were basically like, it's you to decide. There's no message that they want you to believe, and they kind of looked down on the idea of like you putting your own message in. And I thought that was so interesting. I disagree.
Yeah.
But I appreciate with what they did here.
Oh yeah.
I really like what they did here. I disagree with the looking down, and that was just the vibe I got from the commentary. I don't want to be putting too many words in the mouth, but I did get the vibe, especially from one of them, who was kind of like, yeah, no, it's kind of stupid when like a show does like a moral message thing about a complicated issue and they pick a side. And I'm like, yeah, I think times have changed.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's kind of the end of that one, because I'm like, you just can't be centrist, you fuck.
Yeah, I mean, like, The Simpsons is not at all centrist in the slightest.
No! We'll see how its politics go as time goes on.
Oh, yeah. It kind of goes all over the place, but yeah, it's not a centrist show.
No, it is not.
I gotta say, I remember one of my favorite bits is, like, somewhere in like, the, like, I think it's Act 2 or maybe, like, early Act 3 when, like, Itchy and Scratchy is basically like changed over to be like sugary sweet, like no plot type of show, to the point where all the kids are like just going outside. They're like rubbing their eyes because they haven't seen the sun in ages or something like that.
Because they've been watching too many cartoons.
Yeah, and they've like it's like all this like super like bouncy and like fluid, almost like trying to be kind of like a Disney parody type of animation where like they're painting the white picket fences and stuff like that and like chasing,
that's like
tumbleweed.
it's like very classic children do children things from like the 1950s to the past.
Yes, very
like
1950s.
like the painting the fences. That's Huckleberry Finn.
I think that's Huckleberry Finn, yeah.
Because
like, they have the outfits and everything.
The only reason I know Huckleberry Finn is also The Simpsons.
Same.
Because they do an episode of that later on.
Yeah.
I mean, look, a lot of our pop culture stuff that we're going to recognize is going to be from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how it's got to be.
But yeah, I remember that especially because, like, the joke that immediately follows after it is Krusty, like, opening up his show, like, doing the normal routine, and then, like, it cuts to the camera, just, he's standing in front of, like, totally empty seats, and he's like, is it Saturday?
Yeah, it was really funny.
Just kills me.
I love Krusty. Krusty's great.
Oh, he's such a good character.
But yeah, no, it was a really interesting episode.
Yeah.
Episode 10, Bart gets hit by a car.
In which I titled it, Bart gets hit by a car, aka, man, there's a lot of Bart this season. Which, like, there's a reason why.
Oh, yeah.
There's still a lot of Bart this season.
That reason being marketing.
Yeah.
And the studio. The studio was explicitly like, you need to have a Bart episode.
Yeah.
I have no notes on this episode. I think it's just a good title. Bart gets hit by a car, which he does.
I have a few notes, actually, because this episode really stands out to me. For one, like, the opening title sequence, the theme song, like, pulls into the actual opening of the episode as Bart is, like, skateboarding down the street, which I thought that was just a really cool and unique way to open up an episode.
No, that is very cool. Oh, look, I just don't remember anything about this episode except for Bart gets hit by Mr. Burns' car, Bart goes to hell, meets the original version of the devil.
Yeah.
Because I feel like The Simpsons change it every so often. Because I know we have a Treehouse of Horror to look forward to for that, but also other things.
Oh, yeah.
And then Bart says he's going to go back to hell. Yeah, that's right. He goes to hell and he spat over the escalators to heaven.
Yeah, that escalator scene in particular, like, kind of, like, shook me as a kid, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, fair. I mean, escalators are scary enough, let alone going up infinity. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. It was like the thing of, like, you spit over the side, you're going straight to hell.
Well, I mean, that is, like, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he goes down, he meets the original Simpsons incarnation of the devil, which I love because he's just, like, I think in the audio commentary, they were originally going to make him, like, a big, beefy, brawny guy, kind of like how South Park portrays him. But instead, they just went with, like, a scrawny little guy.
As, like, you could actively describe him as a scrawny little fuck.
Yeah. And, like, the way he, like, talks to Bart as well is just like, all right, let me get your file up.
Yeah, no, I really, like, that's the only scene I remember was just the opening. I don't remember, I know something to do with Mr. Burns, because they also, as they talk about in the audio commentary, they fucking love Mr. Burns.
Oh, yeah. They love using Mr. Burns.
They loved writing for him. It was so much fun to write him, but they had to keep writing Bart because the studio kept being like, what the fuck is this show? More Bart episodes, please.
Please. But yeah, like, he comes back to life because he's not meant to be dead for, like, another nearly, like, 80 years, basically. And, like, this is actually the introduction of one of my favorite Simpsons characters ever, Lionel Hutz. the super shady lawyer.
It's crazy I didn't have fucking notes for this episode. I think it was... Because I think what happened a good bit of this season was I just forgot to write notes because I was just enjoying the episode.
Totally fair, yeah. It's just like, yeah. It's a good episode because there's quite a few firsts in here, like Lionel Hutz and like the devil and stuff like that. And also, I think Mr. Burns' lawyers?
Yeah, Mr. Burns' lawyers is also a first in this episode.
Yeah, like the shoutiest lawyers I've seen. And, like, I remember, I think like the only other note I have in here is like how shouty lawyers are like in fictional like TV and such like that. Whereas when you watch like actual court cases and stuff like that, you're gonna have a hard time finding lawyers who actually shout. Oh yeah, I can count on like one hand of court cases I've watched in which the lawyer is actually shouting at the person on the stand.
What the fuck?
Well, those people deserved it, to be fair.
I don't know why are you watching court cases?
I don't know. I just do.
Fair enough. Fucking go for it, King. That's king behavior. Watching court cases and being like, fuck, this is boring.
Yeah. That's why I watch them with commentators talking about it and like explaining to me what's happening. Just be like, that's what they're saying. I don't understand this law jargon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that episode.
Yeah, want to move on?
Yeah.
Episode 11, One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish.
Another hard-hitting episode.
Fuck, this episode is heavy, and I think I watched it a good amount as well as a kid. I remember a lot of it. But what the fuck, The Simpsons?
Yeah. But first of all, that opening shot of the meatloaf spinning in the microwave, I don't know why that stood out to me, but I was watching it and I was like, that's a very nicely animated, crappy-looking food. I've never had meatloaf. I don't know if it's crappy, but it kind of looks crappy, honestly. Is it? I don't know. It was nicely animated, is my point. But
no,
I also...
fair.
But, I mean, it also does remind me that, like, The Simpsons has a really interesting way of, like, just making their food look nice. Like, this is the episode that introduced me to sushi as a kid. And the way that they had their sushi drawn made it look like... They made them look like little, like, sweets. Even though they were explicitly like, it's fish. But I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, it looks so yummy. I want some. It looks like lollies.
I don't remember having that thought, but I think that's because of the plot of the episode I didn't have that thought.
Fair.
Basically, Homer... Lisa wants to go and eat at a different place. Homer's like, but meatloaf night. Or something to that effect. And then they eventually go and try sushi. Homer loves it. He asks for everything on the menu.
Well, like, he also does, like, the very dad thing of, like, being very against it at first, looking at the menu and being like, it all looks like garbage, and then actually trying the food and being like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that is such dad behavior.
It's such a dad thing. But, like, no, like, just... Like there was like a novice chef. He had to cut up the thing. He cut it up wrong because the main chef was fucking Mrs. Krabappel.
Yep.
Which is, I think, the first time we get a perspective of her love life.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's always fun. But yeah, so we got that, and Homer eats a bit of poison, and he's basically given 22 hours to live.
Yep.
And the whole episode is basically Homer's trying to make the best of his last day, which doesn't go to plan.
Yep, because he sleeps in, and like,
which is so
pretty
fun.
Late.
He sleeps in. Like, he wanted to wake up at 7. He slept until 11. He's like, Marge, why didn't you wake me? And Marge is like, well, you look so peaceful.
Yeah, it's like I love their relationship so much. Actually, they're so cute.
They're such a lovely couple. And I really appreciate that, you know? Like, which is interesting. It's so fun to see. They're such a lovely couple. They have so many marriage crisis episodes.
Yeah. But when they're, like, sweet to each other, they're really, really sweet to each other is the thing.
And yeah, basically Homer's just going through a bunch of shit. He's trying to record a video for Maggie to show how nice he is, but then doesn't reveal he's not because he has to answer the phone. He teaches Bart how to shave, which is I vividly remember, and that's how I learned how to shave as well.
Yeah, I remember that scene so well as a kid, especially watching it as a kid and then being like, I'm gonna need this someday. Being a not realizing that I was the trans at the time.
I just, again, you little kid, you sitting in front of the TV. I imagine you sitting on the floor in front of the TV, how I imagine how I was watching it. Yeah, being just you being like, I'm gonna need that someday, and then us two watching you from watching little baby from a distance, being like, oh, that's sad. I mean, eventually, yes, that is true. It's a combination of sad and psychic.
Yeah. I just knew.
You just knew. I didn't. It was the thing when we got to that scene, I was like, I remembered every bit of the scene step by step. And then when I did have to learn how to shave, I recalled back to that moment when my dad was teaching me, being like, oh, okay, and like this from The Simpsons. And my dad's like, yep. I guess I could. The episode's on. You want to know a fun story? So,
tell it to me.
My dad, because when you're of age, your dad has to, one of your parents has to come down and give you the talk. And my dad was like, "So do you know what sex is?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the thing they cut away from in The Simpsons." And it's like, "But do you know what it is?" Like, well, the Homer and Marge go under the blankets, and they kiss. And clearly something happens, but I don't know what. They never showed it. And I don't know. I just love that answer of well, they cut away from it in The Simpsons. And my dad just been like, correct. But you don't? Okay. And that's all I remember from that talk. But I thought I'd share that story because it was Simpsons related.
That's fun. We learned a lot from The Simpsons.
We did. I have 2 quotes from this episode. One I don't remember quite where, when Homer says it. The other one I do, which is Flanders is like, oh, hey, howdy ho. We're just going to go and have a neighborhood barbecue if you're interested in coming along. And he's like, well, I don't... Sure. I'd love to. Hey, I'll bring the juiciest steaks.
What's so wild about that bit in particular is that I remember for some reason when I was watching this episode back, I watched it to the end and I was like, but where's the bit where he remembers he needs to bring the steak to Ned? And I was like, that never happened. I misremembered that entirely.
That's just...
I made up that scene.
That's crazy. I think because when I was thinking about it and when I think of what that scene imagines, I remember the left-handed episode. So potentially it could be a combination of those 2 episodes combined.
Oh, it could be.
Which is, if I predicted that, because the left-handed episode I think is next season.
Shit.
If I predicted that, that's funny. That's very really funny. If we have just some reason... almost same brain for The Simpsons as well, of what we picked up on and what we remember. But yeah, the line afterwards, which is where the quote's from that I have, is just the door closes and Homer's like, joke's on him, I'll be dead by then.
It's so good.
There's another line he says, I don't remember where it goes, it's I'm speaking to you from beyond the grave. Ooh. No, that's right, that's in the video he gives Maggie.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, no... That's all my notes. Oh, yeah. Except for the fact of Larry King reads out the Bible.
That's right. And I didn't clock it as Larry King initially because I was like, oh, he doesn't sound like that.
But he says his name. He's like, hello, I'm Larry King.
I know. For some reason, I never hear that whenever I watch this episode.
Oh, yeah.
But when I watched the audio commentary, I was like, oh, yeah, Larry King.
I clocked it immediately because Larry King's got a very unique voice.
He does.
But yeah, that's it was fucked, that ending of you just I guess Homer's dead. Oh, he's alive, it's fine. But I love that Marge is like, oh, he's dead, wait a minute, that saliva's still wet and warm.
His drool is still warm.
Fuck. Episode 12. The Way We Was.
The Way We Was. I love this episode.
This is also one of my favorite Simpsons episodes ever.
Because, like, what's immediately interesting to me is that, like, jumping straight over to the audio commentary, I remember Matt Groening specifically saying that he was very against the idea of this episode because he didn't want to do a period piece of, like, a specific decade because of the floating timeline nature of the show.
Yeah.
Which ended up, like, kind of, like, not really being the case anyway, because I remember this is, like, one of the most influential episodes from what I can remember anyway.
And again, a little side note, I have figurines from these episodes.
Oh, I'm so
jealous. I have Artie, I have Homer, I think I have young Patty and Selma from... I don't remember, like, when Marge talks about smoke? No, when they get into smoking and Marge does all their chores. I don't remember what episode
that's a different episode.
I know it's a different episode, but I have the Patty and Selma from that. I also have, I have the Homer, I have Marge, and I have Artie Ziff from this episode.
I wish I had Simpsons figurines.
You should get some.
I should try to get some. They're
expensive, though.
But they're not crazy expensive.
No, but they are enough money to be like, oh.
Yeah, enough money to be like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to save up for a little bit.
I want to find a place to display mine. I have a few displayed downstairs. Anyway, we're getting so sidetracked. This episode's great. Yeah. I love teenagers. Like, I love watching movies or TV, which is like teenagers in the 1970s high school.
Yes. All of the 70s themes in this are just so good.
If you want more of this type of stuff, watch Dazed and Confused. That's another good one. That's a movie about like the last year of high school. It's like it follows a bunch of protagonists. High school, 1970s. It's like 1976. It takes place. It's great. It's real fun. It's a very young Ben Affleck in that film. It's funky. But yeah, no, I love this episode.
Fell down.
Oh no.
No. They were just put up with like a thin strip of washi tape. I need to find a better way to display them.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Like, especially I remember Homer's car, like his 1970s car really standing out to me.
But I remember that car from a different episode.
Oh, yeah?
It's the... call it? I remember that car, because it's a very vividly typed car, especially the thing. I think he also drove it in the 7-Up parody they did. Of like the...
7-Up parody?
It's a parody of that documentary series in which from like the 1960s to like the 1990s, and then as it kept going on, they added more time to it. That's the original British one. There's a few US ones of... They follow a kid from 7 years old, then they see him again at 14, then they see the kid again at about 21, then they see the kid at 28, and they see the kid at 30. Like they just follow the kid every, 7 years.
Huh.
To learn how, they follow, a bunch of kids, and, they go on through the decades to see how their lives are changed. They're really interesting documentaries. We watched them in high school. In English.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. But no, they're really interesting, and they do a parody in, the teen years. And it's a real good parody of it, too. But yeah, no, it's, I
need to mention, their song, Close to You, just, after this episode just being their running theme song, which again it appears in the movie again.
They look near. Yeah, it's at their wedding. I love this episode is a bit hard, and the bit that Homer is just a bit too. Just the thing he does to Marge that Marge gets really upset about.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's what you were saying about Bart the other episode, which has been ugh.
Yeah. It's I remember in the episode, my mind was flopping back and forth between it's kind of cute how immediately infatuated with Marge Homer is, and then the episode goes on and I'm like, you're being a little bit of a creep there, buddy.
Yeah, he's never... Yeah, he's Well, he's no Artie Ziff.
He's no artist.
Like, you know, at least, like, Homer's not great. He's not great, but it's complicated.
Yeah.
But again, there's so many Marriage Crisis episodes that cover it so much.
Yeah,
like,
you can't think too hard about the moralities in this episode.
But even then, it was again. But if you do, it's like, oh look, it was a different time.
Yeah.
It was the 70s. It was the thing. We actively address it later, but like, no, I just love this episode a lot. I like a lot of it.
Yeah, it's like also one of my favorite early episodes.
I'm a sucker for a good flashback episode.
Same.
Whether it be in like just this show or just in other shows in general. The Simpsons do it quite well.
Yeah.
But also, I'm just like, as I was thinking about it, I'm like, but the Steven Universe ones are also like equally as exciting.
Ooh,
being like,
yes.
ooh, things from the past.
Yeah.
Like the kids of the now are getting told the things of the past. I always love those. And I think The Simpsons are really good at doing flashback episodes like this. They do some fucking stellar ones. But yeah.
They do a really good job at like capturing the period that they're portraying in these.
Any more notes?
Nope, that's it. Just gushing.
Episode 13, Homer versus Lisa and the Eighth Commandment.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of notes for this episode. Like, the first one, when I was watching it through the first time, I was like, I zoned out. And then the second time I was watching it with the audio commentary, my notes were like, okay, no, this episode is really good. But I don't fucking remember what this episode was.
All I have are 2 notes. Because, yeah, I had a similar thing of, like, I watched it, like, I really like this. Forgot it ever existed. Going through the audio commentary, been like, oh, I forgot how good this episode is. Forgot it ever existed.
Yeah.
I like this. I was like, oh, this is the one with the Moses opening. Right, yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's the big Lisa morality episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About Homer stealing cable. And
Yeah.
then Lisa's like, that's not right because we steal cable, we go to hell.
We're gonna go to hell.
Yeah. And I think like after like that scene, there's a great Homer quote which is like, why can't she be more like, well, not like Bart, but there's got to be a happy medium.
Yeah.
Which is so good. But yeah, it's a fun Lisa Homer episode.
Yeah,
I like
there's a lot of really good jokes in this.
It's also, there's a good joke about, I don't remember much about it, but of, because everyone kind of learns that Homer has cable, so they go over to watch the boxing match. Mr. Burns learns about it and is like, oh, we should go. And like Mr. Smith is like, but sir, aren't you rich? It's like, I just feel like, can't you have cable? But I don't remember what the follow-on punchline is for that. So
I remember it was like the audio commentary. They were like, why doesn't Mr. Burns just get cable? He's rich. Like, I don't remember. I don't remember if it was Smithers.
Yeah, it could have been the audio commentary. I just confused them.
No, I think Smithers was saying like, oh, it might be inappropriate to go to an employee's house or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was the commentary that was like, why doesn't he just get it? He's the richest man in town.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's all my notes for the episode. It's
and
good.
Springfield is a very poor town.
It is. Shelbyville's a bit richer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any other notes.
Yeah, it's a funny episode.
It's good.
It's good.
Episode 14, Principal Charming.
Yeah, this one's interesting.
I have no notes.
It
is interesting.
Look through my notes.
Because Principal Skinner ends up at the Simpson house for a reason, or whatever circumstance, runs into Patty and Selma.
Okay, like what's happening is that like
that's right. No, I remember.
For some reason, Selma something makes her start like desperately trying to look for a man, and she goes to Marge and she's like, I need you to help me. And so Marge goes to Homer and is like, I need you to help Selma look for a man.
Yeah, that's right.
And so because Bart gets called to Principal Skinner's office, Homer goes in and is like, you're like the only guy who's actually stood out of all the guys I've come across. So there's a lot of there's a good bunch of Terminator jokes beforehand of Homer just scoping out a bunch of guys. My favorite one is when he comes across Apu, and but he just, in the actual context of the show, he's just staring at Apu's face for a good 5 seconds straight.
Yeah.
And Apu ends up being can you give me the money, please? But yeah, he ends up inviting Principal Skinner over, and he introduces Principal Skinner over to Patty mistakenly, and Patty is I'm not Selma, I'm Patty, and but by that point, yeah, Principal Skinner's already infatuated with her, and very tragically, Selma's just kind of sitting at the sidelines, just looking at Principal Skinner while he's giving Patty all the attention. And this is before Patty is given a lot of lesbian subtext as well.
But I still get the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember the quote, I think it's from this episode, being Marge says something along the lines of, Patty chose the life of celibacy, but Selma was just given to it, without her wanting it. So it was a very different vibe at this point.
Yeah, but it was still a thing of but because of the retroactive stuff, it's no, but I see it.
Yeah.
It's because we know in the future that Patty is a lesbian, we then retroactively be oh, okay, so when Marge says this, she doesn't realize, and either Patty hasn't clocked it, or is just not coming out.
Yeah.
That's just how that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good episode. I don't remember really much about it. It was neat. And I was cool.
I remember it was just a very funny episode.
I remember Patty does kind of Principal Skinner, but for the sake of Selma, dumps him.
Yeah.
Which I think is really nice.
It's very cute. And I remember also, in the audio commentary, I believe this is technically the first time you see Mole Man on screen, because they go on a pretty big tangent about him, about the way he came back colored just made him look like a shriveled potato.
What the fuck?
And so that's why they started calling him Mole Man.
See, this is the reason why I have to actually sit and watch all the audio commentaries, even for the episodes I don't fucking care about.
Yeah.
Because they're
this
shit,
is why.
Maybe.
Because there's some gold in between some of these. It's oh my god.
Fuck.
This is and it was what one of the people in the commentary, they were talking to one of the other people on the team, talking about how Mole Man came back, and they were told something along the lines of don't you ever design a character like Mole Man again. Because the writers just absolutely hated him for whatever reason.
Well, that explains what happens to Mole Man.
Yeah. It's just listening to it, just God, this is so good.
That's so funny.
I love that so much. I love that Mole Man just looks like a sweet potato, basically. He kind of just has the head shape of a yam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good episode.
Okay, what's the next episode? Episode 15. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Featuring Danny DeVito as Homer Simpson's brother, Herb.
Yeah.
Well, half-brother.
I love this episode.
Yeah, no, this episode... I think it's good, but I don't love it.
This episode's also got a lot of firsts in it, with it's the first time we see McBain and stuff like that.
That's true. First time we see Homer design a car.
First time we see Homer's mother as well.
Yes, which will be retconned later.
Slightly, yeah. Her voice will be changed, but
her voice will be changed, and a little bit about her demeanor, I feel, is shifted. But that's just a thing of we have a very basic thing. It's Homer's mother. We also get again Herb rocking up for the first time. And I think he only ever appears twice.
He does appear a few more times, way later in the series. Yeah.
Really? I only remember him appearing once.
I think he...
As in, he's in this episode, and he's in another episode in which he kind of seeks revenge.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely remember that episode.
But I don't think there's any other times, unless there's, like, stuff in, like, season 30 I don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, like, I just remember, like, a lot of, like, really good quotes from this episode, like, especially from Grandpa. He's got some fucking good lines in this. Like, when he's telling Homer the story about, like, about when he conceived Herb. He was, like, talking about, he was at a carnival, like, looking up the skirts of other women, which is, like, creepy, but also, like, I expect nothing less from Grandpa.
Yeah.
But, like, the way he describes Herb's mother is, like, she would do things your mother would never do, like have sex for money.
Also, I have the grandpa in the flashback, I have the figurine.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
I have so many. It's in a big tub. But I still don't have a lot. That's the fucked thing. I have a good amount.
Yeah.
And my I remember buying these at petrol stations.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's where I remember getting them from. You know, like,
Damn.
because I don't know if you ever saw them in person.
No, I never did.
So so they had two releases with like with the 20th anniversary, like the season 20 coming out. They had a whole new release of a bunch of brand new ones of old and new episodes, and those were in like packaging. Like that was an explicit packaging and wrapping and like plastic and shit like Toys Today. But you know how you could buy those dinosaur toys or animal toys with the little tag around the ankle?
Yeah.
That's how I remember them doing those Simpson ones.
Fuck yeah.
That's how I remember they used to be. They used to be in like the little like plastic container thing that would just hold a bunch of them, and you'd pick out one and feel like I've been like kind of unlocking this just core memory of my fucking past right now. Just been like, fuck. Holy shit.
The closest I have is like all the Simpsons like comic books I have. I got them all from like Woolworths.
Yeah, I used to get mine from Woolworths. I had a bunch from a friend. Kyron also had a bunch. I don't know where mine have went. I think I just got rid of them.
Sad. I remember when they slowly start to like dwindle out, and I was like so sad when I stopped seeing them in the shops.
I remember that too. I remember looking at it being like, they haven't brought in any new ones.
Yeah.
And they're not. I don't think they're gonna do these any. Yeah, they're gone.
Yep, they're gone.
No point looking at this section for comics I can't buy.
Yeah. But yeah, like this episode, I just remember it's just a lot of good Grandpa bits. Like after he's done like telling the story to Homer, Homer's like, you know, he's weeping to him, and he's like, oh, if you. Since I'm the one you kept, that must mean you really love me. And Grandpa just goes like, interesting theory. It's just like a millionaire. Oh, I kept the wrong one.
Yeah.
Just, so many good lines.
Even though it's like a thing of like, no, Grandpa, I think, no, it's a combination of Homer and it nature and nurture. Like,
yeah.
It's like, but no, it's a good episode. It's fun. What do I have a few quotes saved. My notes keep disappearing.
Oh no.
I will not steal or sell land in Florida or Fordia. No, it's Fordia. Or I misspelled Florida. I don't know. I might cut that. Whatever.
Oh well.
The other quote I do have is one more word and Bart can't watch cartoons and Lisa can't go to college.
Yeah. That line's so good.
And also, I do want to say, because I don't know how much you have exposure to Arnold Schwarzenegger's line of work.
Not much.
Or
I knew
action
enough.
movies from the 80s.
I knew enough that I could tell what they were parodying, but like I didn't really know much other than like got big guy with accent does action movies.
We genuinely, they're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I fucking love those movies so hard. like, it's so fun how I am like, yeah, Terminator's not his best work. I'd have to rewatch the Terminator movies. I haven't seen them since I was younger. But I swear his are so much better. Like, we gotta watch shit like Running Man and like Total Recall, which are like these cyberpunk, like, near distant futures crazy shit. That's like my favorite genre for Schwarzenegger to be in, is like in a far distant future. But McBain is such a fucking spot on parody. Like, everything about it is perfect. It's crazy.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Danny DeVito, I think, is real good for the role.
Yeah, he's like, it's a really good voice role.
Do we want to go to the next episode?
Yeah. Good episode. Next episode.
Episode 16, Bart's dog gets an F.
Yeah.
No notes.
I don't really care that much for this episode.
I don't have any real memory of it. Bart's dog is just misbehaving. You want to move on?
Yeah. I mean, like, I have a couple of notes. One is that, like, I actually remember, like, the B plot, which is, like, Lisa gets the mumps, a lot more than the
Lisa gets the mumps!
Yeah!
I
remember that so much more vividly than the whole dog plot, because I just didn't care about it. But, there was that. And then, like, also, one note from the commentary. This is when Matt Groening brings up the pen that he used to write, like, the font that he used for the credits. And it's like, it's a specific pen that you can't get anymore because it's been discontinued. But I remember even as a kid, I was insanely jealous of how it looked, because, like, the font that's used for the credits and, like, for everything in The Simpsons, it's so nice looking.
It's such an interesting font.
Yeah. It's like, it's not like a typical, like, oh yeah, comic book type of font. It's like, no, this is like got a really unique look to it. I mean, like, I've studied graphic design at, like, a very base level type of thing, so, like, I can go on tangents, very small tangents about fonts, but yeah, basically, I really like the Simpsons font.
You got all the time in the world. We're only an hour and a half.
I do not have all the time in the world.
Fuck yeah, no, you don't.
No, I do not.
Yeah, whoops. I mean, I was sorting out other stuff. Yeah, no notes, no other notes.
Nope.
Episode 17, Old Money.
I really like this episode.
It's nice to have a grandpa episode. I think it's neat.
Yeah.
It's also nice to learn how the Springfield Retirement Castle becomes the Springfield Retirement Castle.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is the episode where basically, like, Grandpa meets another lady at the retirement village.
Yes.
He, like, he organizes, like, a date with her and everything. Before this, he went on, like, a really, like, crappy trip that he didn't like with the rest of his family. But, like, at the same time that he's meant to have his date with B is her name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They get attacked at the zoo, at the, like, drive-around
They
zoo.
forcefully take him out to a safari, and then Homer takes a wrong turn, and they get attacked by lions, and they're stuck there overnight. But by the time Grandpa gets back in, like, the very early hours in the morning the next day, you can see that there's an ambulance next to the retirement village, and there's a person being strolled into it. I remember, like, seeing that on the rewatch. I was like, oh boy.
And also the fact, and the worst part is it was B's birthday.
Yeah, that's right, it was her birthday, which, like, hits so incredibly hard. It's like, oh boy. And, like, yeah, like, they're at the funeral, and Grandpa is very justifiably, like, angry at Homer.
Yeah.
But he earns an inheritance, like, from B's will, which I mean, first of all, that happened very quickly. But also, like, he ends up, like, using the money to basically restore the retirement village into the retirement castle to just make it nicer and more dignifying for everyone living there.
Yeah, it's real nice.
Oh, and this is also like the introduction of Professor Fink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like before he does that, he's like interviewing he's like meeting up with a bunch of people so that they can basically attempt to prove to them like why they should have his money instead. But like they've all got crap ideas. And it's but yeah, that's the first time you see Professor Frink because he's got like a death ray or something.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, I think it was a death ray.
Yeah. I love Professor Frink.
No, he's great.
Yeah, but yeah, this is a good episode. It's a very heartwarming one.
Episode 18. Brush with Greatness. No nuts.
I love this episode. Also, very much so because it's a Marge episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I read the title, I'm like, I forgot what this episode.
But it's another one of those episodes in which like the way it starts and the way it ends is so drastically fucking different.
Because this is the painting one, right?
This is the painting one.
This is another one that's so fucking. This is a very. It's like a thing of like, it's fine. Oh yeah, this episode is one of those iconic episodes.
Yeah, because it starts out with like Bart and Lisa seeing Krusty do like a very shitty ad for his new theme park, Mount Splashmore.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, which by the way, I love the way the.
Could you take us to Mount Splashmore? Could we? What was it? What was the fucking line?
Will you take us to Mount Splashmore? No. Will you take us to Mount Splashmore?
No. Will you take us to Mount Splashmore? No. That is such fucking vividly in my child brain. Same. I loved this episode as a kid.
I love. My favorite part about that whole sequence is when like they keep asking him like throughout the day, and eventually they're just like looking at Homer asking him while he's in the shower, and he's like screaming, "No!"
When he's in bed, it was.
Sorry, I peeked the mic there.
It's fine. I'm very excited to edit it.
It's so funny. But yeah, they eventually go. Homer. They go on the rise. They don't spend a very long time there, but there's a lot of good jokes. Homer gets stuck in one of the tubes because he's too overweight. Then drives forward the plot of him actually losing weight. Oh yeah, very scary.
Going down it's one of the reasons why I kind of dislike those slides, especially in like a big wave of those ones. Like it's like those like inner tube slides where you can't see the outside. That's claustrophobic to me. And I think it's those. Because of this episode.
Yeah, same.
Like, that blockage couldn't be human. Send down some more kids.
It's so funny.
It's so funny.
But like, what caused Marge to go to art school though?
Oh, she was already going to art school beforehand. Like, she did it in her youth. And then they were trying to find the exercise equipment upstairs, they found Marge's old paintings of Ringo Starr from the Beatles.
Yes.
I think I picked my mic.
This is a good episode. But yeah, like, so she goes back to art school. The art teacher there is so funny as well. I love him so much. Because he's like, one of the lines he says is like, I don't take praise very well, but he like praises everything around him, including like a painter who's just like painting the stair railing. He's like, marvelous. It's so good. And yeah, then drives the Burns plot. See what we mean with like how just like how different the beginning and like the end of these episodes are. Basically, Burns is like looking for an artist to capture his image. He's burned through the entire artist community in Springfield. Marge is basically the only person left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so starts going to the Simpsons house. Homer's justifiably terrified, and like Marge is like basically continuously trying to find his inner beauty. And she burns through like dozens and dozens and dozens of paintings, basically, until she ends up with basically like Mr. Burns just kind of like standing there, kind of crouched over, totally naked. It's shown at an art museum. It's a really interesting episode. I'm having a hard time even summarizing it.
What's the quote of like Mr. Burns at the very end being like, I hate a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, he says, I know what I hate, and I don't hate this. It's like
Which,
something along those
I
lines.
love that a lot. It's
really cool.
It's like a thing of like, that painting is like, you almost... It would, like, if I was in your house, Demo, and you had that painting...
Which I would have.
You would have, and I'd be, and any time, and what I like to imagine is, while we get to see the nudity, like, the camera still doesn't show it, the camera in quotation marks, you know what I mean? Like, it's always still blocked off, like how in the show. But just the idea of looking over and being like, good, I guess. Good, actually, good. And then, I guess how do you think Eric would feel?
I don't know.
I think if it was in your own private room,
it
would be fine. If it was in the lounge room, or any shared space with Eric, might be a problem.
Might be a bit of an issue.
I don't want to see old man dick when I wake up.
I remember, like, I think it was Mrs. Hoover. It says something along the lines of, like, something like, it's disgusting, but he'll die soon, so I like it.
Yeah! I forgot about that. Yeah, fuck.
It's so good.
Oh, yeah, it's a good episode. It's really good.
It's a really good episode.
I have no notes because it was great.
It was so good. Oh, yeah, and also Ringo Starr, like, actually, like, he's a guest voice.
Yeah, that was funky.
His scene is so funny as well. It's like taking decades to get through all of these letters because he has to answer them all because he's got dedicated fans. It's kind of cute. It's also just really funny as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
now,
yeah.
Before we go to episode 19, we have to do a little detour. Also, I would like to note we have episode 1 of this episode 1 of this retrospective is an hour 34 minutes. We have passed that. Okay.
Woo!
So we have to detour to the behind the scenes on the last thing, because first things first, there is someone in a Bart suit hosting an award show. I remember
that's Nancy Cartwright.
In the suit? That's fun.
Yes. She was pregnant at the time as well.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I remember accidentally turning that on as a kid and getting spooked because Bart was in the reel, which is an actual... I don't like when cartoons be the real. That's real bad. Roger Rabbit is fine, but we'll get to that Treehouse of Horror. It's no good. And as a kid, it spooked me, so I turned that off. And the other thing was, I watched for the first time the Do the Bartman music video.
Are we just going straight into all the special features here?
These are the only two I have notes about, because these are the other two I was like, I'm curious. But
That's
I'm like,
fair.
This is where my notes are, and I want to kind of get through them before we continue.
Yeah.
We'll do special features detour. Do the Bartman has a crazy behind-the-scenes story.
Yes.
And I do just recommend going to get it, because Brad Bird, you know, he also directed it too. So fucking crazy. Go, and like it's like 3 minutes. It's the audio commentary is 3 minutes. Just go and look it up. It's great.
It's fun.
Another A113 reference. All the stuff are very off model. Like, this is really interesting because it's a side of The Simpsons I never really had that much exposure to. This is Simpsons Mania. This really is Simpsons Mania.
It really is.
It stinks of it.
It does.
It's such an interesting little... Gosh, surely there's a video essay talking about Simpsons Mania.
I think there's definitely a few that at least go into brief detail.
I want like a kind of more in depth of like what the fuck happened. I'm so curious.
Same.
But
if we find any, we'll link them.
Anyway, Michael Jackson co-wrote the song.
That's right. Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah. I remember I watched the music video a lot as a kid because like it's on the DVD, so I may as well. But like it's I love how snappy and like bouncy the animation is, and especially like the visuals in general are just very very fun. I mean that's the same for both music videos that they did, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like the visual style in the Deep Deep Trouble music video is just so cool to look at, especially.
I guess I
'Cause,
just
like-
could have watched that because I never saw that one.
Wait, were you mentioning Deep Deep Trouble or Do the Bartman?
To the Bartman.
Oh, okay. Well, it's the same for both. They both have very snappy visuals, very very cool visual style. I think like yeah, Do the Bartman especially. That the animation in that really stands out to me
Yeah.
because yeah, it's not the same as it is in the show for a reason.
Which
like,
they go into. It's like a thing of like, look, we've taken an hour and 40 minutes of your time. We'll take some more from you separately. Go listen to
Go
like,
listen to the actual creators talk about that.
listen to Brad Bird before he did any of the cool shit he did. But post some of the cool shit he's already done.
Yeah.
Do you have any other behind the scenes notes or anything? Because that's all I had. I watched the two things and went cool, and then moved on.
I mean, like I briefly went into some of the others because, apart from like the music videos, those are I find those just really fascinating and cool in their own right.
Oh yeah, they're really interesting.
There was also like all the others were a lot shorter in comparison. There was the Butterfingers commercials.
Oh yeah.
Which were so wild, and I watched them a lot as a kid, like on the DVD for some reason. And I also remember that the Simpsons like drawn version of it looking a lot more appetizing than the real life version.
That's just all American food.
Yeah. But like I mean for one also in the Butterfingers commercial, like Bart has a green shirt in there for some reason.
Fucking wild.
Yeah. But yeah, all the other ones are basically like David Silverman and creating an episode. It's like, yeah, he goes into detail about, like, not extreme detail, but like a lot more detail than you would expect on like how the episodes are actually made. Like he talks about the process of the animation and like how everything's done before it gets shipped off to do the coloring and everything. So those are very cool. You also get to see the storyboards for a few episodes, which I love seeing, especially. And I think they also showcase like just a bunch of other like general planning, like how the characters are going to look for specific scenes. I don't remember exactly. But it was also really cool seeing the super old tech that they use and that as well.
Yeah.
Like I think at the very start of it, he was showing the way like that the audio was edited together on this like massive machine. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. All the others, it's like there was like an Emmy Awards show presentation in which like it's an actual Emmy Awards, but with The Simpsons animated in there, which like it's been done a few times with a few other like franchises and characters.
I know, like the Oscars did like Toy Story and Shrek.
One, yeah, was there one with Monsters Inc? I remember like Sully and
maybe.
Mike. I remember Sully and Mike being in at least something.
I just won't forget Woody's tuxedo he wore.
That's so. I don't think I've actually seen the Toy Story one, which is wild.
I think it's Toy Story 2, but I could be not misremembering. It could be the first Toy Story. I know Shrek and Donkey were in the. They were in the audience for when they won their award.
They were
in like 2001.
Yeah. It's quite wild.
Which means that probably the animators knew, or they had to animate double the work. That wouldn't surprise me, given that fucking industry.
Yeah. But yeah, like all the other special features, it's like there's like an interview with Matt Groening and James L. Brooks. Matt Groening looks so young in that interview as well. He's like baby face, like compared to how I'm used to seeing.
I think I did watch that. I watched one of the behind the scenes of like a little clip of like talking about the show and stuff. Fuck. Yeah.
And then like the only other one I looked at was the magazine covers, which is basically just a lot of Bill Cosby, because that was around the time when the two shows were really competing with each other.
Yeah.
There was so much Bill Cosby in those magazines, and like it's kind of just scrolling through them, and I was like, I think I get the point. I think I'm good. I think that's enough Bill Cosby for me today.
Or forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're done with, if you're we're good with behind the scenes, we can move on to the episode. We know the season. Episode. Look, it's tired. We recorded this way later than we were intending.
Yeah. Whoops.
I mean, look, the first one we recorded too early, that we had a lot of interruptions. This one we've recorded too late, and the third season will be just off to the left, and we're like, fuck. Episode 19, Lisa's Substitute. I think this is one of the best episodes The Simpsons has ever done.
I agree.
I fucking love this episode with my heart.
Yes, this is... there's so much good about this episode in particular. Like, I mean, I'm not really sure. Like, I only really have a few notes about it because
I have
so
no
much
notes.
has already been said.
Except for just being like, this is the best episode. This is, like, arguably the best episode The Simpsons has ever done.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Lisa episodes are some of my favorite episodes. They do anyway. This one is just really, really good.
This one is really good, and it's a Lisa Homer episode, but it's mainly Lisa with a bit of Homer in the back half of it.
Yeah.
And because, you know, again, it's like Bar Gets an F. I would put these episodes very highly because it's the two different sides of, like, how kids can really struggle with education. The first one being, you know, put into the education system that we have, some kids just aren't able to actually, even if they do their best, they just aren't actually able to achieve what is needed.
Yeah.
Which is fucked. But then Lisa's thing of actually having a teacher who cares.
Yeah.
And
Mrs. Hoover doesn't care.
No, like, she really doesn't.
Yeah.
As, like... But there's a thing of, like, you know, having a teacher that actually cares, but then also the weird side thing of Lisa kind of having a crush, maybe?
Yes, that was something I actually did want to touch on, because, yeah, Lisa, there's a lot of subtext about Lisa having a crush. They never really say it out loud. They never say it
explicitly, but it's a thing of, like...
But there's a lot of moments where, like, especially, I mean, for one, when she's talking to Marge and, like, asking if she can invite Mr. Bergstrom over... A lot of, like, a few things of, like, you know, normal things of like, oh, can I wear this? Can I wear that? And Marge is like, sure. And, like, you know, and then, like, she's asking to wear, like, more adult things. And Marge is like, no, don't wear that. And then, like, a few other, like, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? Yeah, sure. And then, like, Lisa goes, can I have wine? Marge is like, no. Which is funny. But then, like, there's also just a lot of things of, like, oh, no. No, she's trying to impress Mr. Bergstrom. And also, like, one other thing of, like, actually, like, a direct interaction which she has with Mr. Bergstrom. I don't remember exactly what it is that she says, but it's, like, a very, very profound, like, you know, very Lisa thing to say, but also, like, in admiration of Mr. Bergstrom, but also with, like, a hint of, like, no, you want something more. And the look that Mr. Bergstrom gives her is, like, just basically just shock of, like, oh, fuck. Oh, no, this isn't good.
Yeah.
You're 8 years old. This is really not good.
Which I really like that he goes, like, by happenstance, he ends up running into Lisa and Homer as they are going to the museum, because... I mean, when you were saying the stuff before about, like, Lisa having a crush, I just remember the scene of Lisa being like, he makes you feel like this, and then Marge being like, well, that's how your dad makes me feel. Like, no,
yeah,
it's
that's
like
how
this.
I feel about Homer.
It's like that's how I feel about Homer. No, it's like this. That's how I feel about your dad. No, yuck. Like Lisa being like, that's weird when I think about it with you, but with this, it's fine. But then, like, Marge is like, Homer, you got to take Lisa out to the museum, and Homer's like, but, and it's like, okay, go to the museum. It's like, okay, fine. So they go to the museum. They run into Mr. Bergstrom there. And I really liked the three of them interacting, and then, like, Lisa off to the side something, and Mr. Bergstrom bringing Homer to an aside, just being like, look, you need to be doing more.
Yeah.
Like, she needs a very good father figure in her life.
Yeah. And, like, Homer, like, is like, oh, like, did she tell you? And I was like, no. It's like, but you could tell, right? It's like, Homer definitely knows. He knows that there's a very strained relationship there. But, like...
And it's complex, because Homer's not a clever man.
He is not.
But he does care.
He cares, he's just, he's not bright about it.
I mean, he does have a crown up his brain.
Yeah.
Retroactive law, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, very much. Like, you can tell that Homer cares, but he's weirdly self-centered in a particular way.
Yeah.
But he does genuinely care about Lisa if he doesn't quite understand her. And it's really I really like Mr. Bergstrom.
He's such a good character.
What was there a great line where he's crying over Charlotte's Web, and then like Lisa's telling the family, and then Bart and Homer are just fucking laughing their ass off.
Yeah,
like,
they're
he's crying in a book. Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's a good episode. I like, so good.
Yeah, it's just. And, like, Lisa running after the person, running after Mr. Bergstrom, trying to work out he's just catching his last train home, like, catching his train to elsewhere. Running into the person in the apartment and being like, hey, does he live here? It's like, no, he's just gone to the train. And then I think it was her, it was like, he had an effect on you too, didn't he?
Yeah.
And just, like, this man, who's played by Dustin Hoffman, who's brilliant in the role.
Yes, I forgot that was him.
Just going from, like, place to place, and I just, like, because he hands Lisa a letter, and, like, as he leaves, Lisa opens it up, and it says, you are Lisa Simpson.
Yeah.
Fuck. Anyway, the rest of the season's okay, like, you can't fucking, like, you
yeah.
I don't, like, after that episode, I was like, wow. Oh... Okay, episode 20, the War of the War of the Simpsons. Like,
I feel like I have to mention a couple more things about the episode.
Sorry, go for it. I was just gonna be like, who cares about a marriage episode? We had this episode. I have no notes for the next episode. Fuck it off.
Yeah, I mean, like, for
Homer catches a fish. Who cares?
Going back to Lisa Substitute for a moment, the like actual ending of the episode in which Homer actually like goes in and like, tries to understand how Lisa is feeling and ends up cheering her up, and then subsequently cheers the rest of his kids up. It's just so nice and so sweet. But that also reminds me of like, what was he cheering up Bart for? Oh wait, yeah, the B plot that like I completely forgot. That happens every time I watch this episode. You remember it for Lisa's plot. And then, like, Bart's, like, B plot comes along, and you're like, what is this?
I picked the microphone. I'm terribly sorry.
I've been picking it quite a few times.
So the B plot of this episode is Bart's trying to become class president. The conclusion of which he pretty much got the vote of everyone, except for the fact everyone forgot the vote. Yeah.
Which is definitely some kind of commentary on American politics that, like,
Is it?
They allude to that in the commentary, from what I remember.
I don't remember.
Like, there was some sort of election that happened afterwards that was basically the exact same thing.
Is that Bill Clinton next?
I do not remember.
Yeah, no, that's Bill Clinton next. I think it's George Bush at the moment.
I'm pretty sure I remember they said it was like sometime in like the 2000s.
Oh, okay. That would have been W. Bush. No, not W. Bush. Bush Jr. That was the second George Bush.
Yeah. Anyway, Bart's got a B plot because, it's the studio like going up and then being like, put more Bart in there. And we're like, fine. Give him a little President B plot.
But yeah, no, it's fuck. Do you have any other notes?
No. It's like best episode in the season. That's
Cool.
it.
I assume you have no. Do you have any notes for the War of the Simpsons?
I've got 2 notes.
Okay.
One is, oh man, is this another marriage crisis episode?
I have a feeling we'll be saying that quite a bunch.
Yeah, and the second one is like, yeah, good episode, no notes.
Yeah, no notes.
Just...
Episode 21.
Yeah, 3 men in a comic book. I like this episode quite a bit.
There is one joke that fucking kills me.
Yeah?
But yeah, it's a good episode. It's the Wonder Years reference.
Oh, what was that again?
So that's when... So Bart's like... So... Okay, The Wonder Years is a TV show from the 80s. I don't know much about it. But what I do know, it is one of the rare sitcoms that my dad owns a physical copy of.
Oh, wow.
But it's not in like a very traditional DVD sense. It's like in a big clamshell and they're all in sleeves. It's real weird. He has the same thing with the disc? Or like another, like, not the disc. It's like he's always like another, maybe it's the disc. Like, he has 2 TV shows with it. One of them's The Wonder Years. I've never seen my dad watch it, but I know he grew up on it and he reflects on it fondly. But I don't know any fucking thing about it. But I know it's a Wonder Years reference because they explicitly say a Wonder Years thing, in the thing. Like, it's referenced in the show, or at the very least the audio commentary explicitly say it's the Wonder Years. But... basically, it's a scene of, like, there's a whole discussion happening, conversation happening. Bart says the thing to Homer, Homer says the thing to Bart, and then it just kind of slowly zooms in on Bart's face as, like, this adult narrator comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, now, what I never would have realized was, that was the closest me and my father would ever be. And it's so fucking good. I might watch that again. That is so fucking funny.
It is. And then, Homer, like, interrupting you, like, Bart, what are you doing?
Stop staring off in the middle of the distance.
It's like, okay, sorry.
And then it going again. Bart!
Yeah.
But yeah,
Bart, stop doing that.
they talk in the audio commentary about, like, how the whole Bart going off and doing all these chores and getting like 2 pennies out of it, or 2 cents out of it, was like based off a true story.
Yeah, very reminiscent of like their own childhoods. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a good episode. I don't know.
The Rumpus Room appeared in this episode.
Oh yeah, it did.
The cursed Rumpus Room. Which, like, basically, if you have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, it's this, like, nebulous room that appears in this episode and only this episode. The
Rumpus Room appears in a few, doesn't it?
I don't... If it doesn't,
It's very rare. Because I remember, what's the person we watched who does Simpsons stuff?
Real Jims?
Real Jims. Yeah, he talks about the Rumpus Room. He talks about the Rumpus Room being a very occasional thing that does happen, but very rarely.
Yeah, but basically, like, the context behind the Rumpus Room is that before all of this, they, the artists and the writers had a very, like, strict, like, plan and, like, blueprints of how the Simpsons house is supposed to look and what the layout is. But by this point, like, I remember in the commentary, they said something along the lines of, like, if it works for a joke, then we're just gonna put it in anyway. But like it's just a room where it's like it's got a little tiny TV. Homer's sitting on a beanbag. It looks like a nursery, and it's got a direct view of the treehouse. So like somewhere in the back of the house, and you don't know.
It doesn't make sense given the.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. Like especially where the treehouse is set, and I know where that is exactly, and I know that floor. I probably could draw the Simpsons house floor plan off by heart.
It's like it's in the right hand corner of the yard, isn't it?
No fuck, I could do the floor plan off by heart.
I'm remembering it from The Simpsons Hit and Run, so like that's how I remember it.
I'm remembering it from The Simpsons Tapped Out. Yeah, the treehouse is it, which you could kind of move the treehouse around, but I'd always put it like the treehouse is always, if you were like looking at the dead front of the house, like at the front of the house, it is on the right side of the backyard. Yeah, so it could technically exist. but it doesn't really work.
Yeah. It's a nice looking room, though, I gotta say.
Yeah, it is good. It's very fun. But,
yeah. I like the part where, like, the three kids are, like, they're all fighting over the comic book, but, like, no, wait, they're not fighting at this point. They're, like, Bart's basically doing, like, the whole movie cliche of, like, needing to bring up Millhouse, but also needing to get the comic book. And, like, Martin's tied up in the back. And, like, I remember his quote is, like, you know, if you guys hadn't tied me up, I would be able to save you and the comic book at this very moment. It's like, it's so good because, like, the music cuts out totally when he says that. It's just like, yep. It's like, it's a very intense scene of like, oh no, my friend or the comic book. And it's like Martin in the back just be like, I could be helping you out if you didn't tie me up like this.
It's because I don't think I watched the audio commentary for that one because I was just like, eh. Oh no, I think I did maybe, I don't remember. But it's just such a, if you just feel a writer's hand being like, yeah, the kids are stupid. This is
yeah. It's a very like kid thing to do as well. It's like this kind of like very easy to solve issue but it's like a much bigger deal in your brain, and like you're fucking up even more because of that. And then like after it's all done, it's like, okay, let's go inside, I'm cold.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Also, the last scene where like they're picking up all the shredded remains of the comic book, the colors are just so pretty as well.
Colors are so damn pretty.
Oh, I love the way they do like sunrises and sunsets in this show so much. It's just the colors, the visuals.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
Episode 22, the final episode of the season, Blood Feud.
Do you have any notes?
I only have quotes.
Makes sense.
Do you have notes?
I have one note, and it says "funky episode."
Yeah, it's a very funky episode. But yeah, Mr. Burns, he's a very particular blood type. Bart has a very particular blood type.
He's double O negative.
Yeah, double O negative. Homer thinks he's going to get a reward out of it. He submits Bart to get the blood. He's like, yes, we're going to get a reward. Mr. Burns is like, thank you. And doesn't give a reward. And Homer's a bit pissed about that, and he's trying to find out ways to solve it. He writes a very angry letter. He gets very upset about it. Marge is like, sleep it off. He sleeps it off, being like, whew, that would have been bad if I submitted that. Meanwhile, cut the Bart, being like, boop.
Straight into the mailbox. It's just, it's so good.
And so then Homer's like, what if we flood the mailbox? It's like, but Dad, wouldn't that like ruin all the mail in the mail? Yeah, but no one gets mail anyway. Like something like that. He's just to flood it, and the mail woman's real upset at him, and he's like, wait, no, they would have sent it to the place. I know, we'll just pick it up and pretend to be Mr. Burns. And then like Homer walks in. It's just the all lead up to the quote I have is like, hello, I am Mr. Burns. I believe you have a letter for me. Okay, Mr. Burns, what's your first name? I don't know. It's so funny.
So funny.
Basically, they get the letter. I don't remember. Mr. Burns is upset, I think, and then it's okay at the end. Yeah. They have a whole reconciliation about it.
He gets upset because he gets upset because he's reading the letter. It's very angry. So like, I think he's like. Oh, now I'm forgetting what it is. I think he wanted to do something about it, but like Smithers talks him out of it. Or so. Yeah. Oh, no wait. He was going to send a hit on Homer, but then Smithers is like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this. He saved your life. And so he's going back and forth with the hitman, just be like, wait, just like beat him up, but don't like kill him or anything. Wait, like hit him, but don't like beat him to a pulp. And the hitman is just like, what did he do anyway? And Smithers is like, he saved Mr. Burns' life.
That's right.
Fuck. Yeah. And so, like, I don't remember what makes Mr. Burns change his mind, but, like, he changes his mind. And he's like, oh, we should go out and get a gift for him. And they're looking at, like, the most the most bizarre gifts.
I love you doing Smithers and Burns impressions, because like the way you did that line delivery for Smithers, I'm like, oh no, that's real good.
Thank you. I have that quote kind of ingrained into my head for some reason.
Yeah. Hey, no, look, fair enough. The gift they get. Like, that's one of my notes. Is like, oh, this is the episode where this thing exists.
Yeah.
I get like a big, what the fuck? How do we describe this?
It's like not Aztec. Like, I don't remember what Lisa says what it is, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I remember what it is. It's like a big head.
It's a God of War type of statue.
Yeah,
not like the game series God of War, an actual God of War.
It's literally like the size of the living room.
It's so big. It's the size of like 2 cars.
Yeah, it's so fucking big. And it's a great thing where it's like, oh, here's your gift. And Bart's like, oh, wow, a crowbar. It's open the crates, stupid.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder, how did they get it in the house?
It's a cartoon.
It's a cartoon, that's true.
There's a mysterious extra room we were just bitching about. Anyway, the last note I have is I like Marge trying to find the moral, but there is no moral.
There's no moral.
It's like well,
nothing.
you know, maybe it's just about being kind. Well, no, it wasn't. We have to send a very angry letter to eventually get this. Well, maybe it's about this. I don't think it's that either. And that's the end of season 2.
Yeah. That's all of it.
I think this is better than season 1.
Oh, so much better. They're starting to iron out all the like kind of weirdness. It does like season 1s usually get in general anyway.
It does have 2 of the best episodes of the series.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna rate this quite highly.
I'm not gonna give it a rating. I'm just gonna say I really like it.
Well, what I mean is like I just rate it in general as like a very like it's a thing of like look I rate it highly. I think it's good. But yeah, this episode's over 2 hours.
Oh well.
I'm just looking into the future, being like, oh, we're fucked. We're so fucked. But also, we're gonna hit a point where there's gonna be a lot of episodes where it's like, no, let's move on.
Yep. It's gonna hit a very high point before it starts getting.
I think season 5 we're gonna have like a 3-hour episode.
Oh God, yeah.
Season 5, I feel like we're gonna have a very long episode.
I can already tell season 3 is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, especially it's gonna be funky. Yeah. But I mean, hey, look, if you're interested in season 3, tune in next month, in which we're gonna be watching season 3, baby. Woo!